Inside Liang Chi's mind, a hyper-realistic symphony is pulsing, a bespoke arrangement of strings that perfectly tracks his every emotional shift. But as the music swells, the physical reality remains stagnant. He is sitting in a cramped, single-room apartment, where the only thing moving is the dust settling on a shelf of unread books. This is the baseline of modern life. While material production has stalled, leaving cities to decay as people queue for gray bags of nutrient powder, digital production has become infinite. Physical scarcity is now the price paid for absolute mental abundance. At the center of this is the Mind Interaction Instrument, a wearable device that maps a user's brainwaves and heart rate to generate a closed-loop experience. By monitoring these physiological reactions in real time, a cloud-based AI can swap out plot points or musical keys the moment a user shows even a flicker of boredom, ensuring they never have to encounter something they don't already like. When technology flawlessly anticipates every individual desire, the incentive to engage with a messy, unpredictable physical world vanishes. We have traded our shared environment for a million private, frictionless heavens. This creates cultural islands. It is a psychological state where no two neighbors consume the same stories or media. Without a shared cultural language, the ability to understand another person's perspective begins to physically erode. The algorithm protects this isolation. If it detects a user's heart rate spiking during a conversation with a stranger, the system classifies the unfamiliar viewpoint as a threat to mental safety. It doesn't just filter the information. It actively encourages the user to defend their psychological space from the intruder. This digital self-defense translates directly into street violence. When Liang Chi's friend Yong Ki encountered a neighbor with a radically different AI-generated aesthetic, their respective systems flagged the interaction as a hostile breach. The resulting physical riot left Yong Ki in a hospital bed with a fractured skull, the victim of a conflict over music that only existed in their separate headsets. Hyper-personalized worlds act as an accelerant for social collapse. When shared stories disappear, the other is no longer just a neighbor with different tastes. They are a biological threat to be neutralized. Faced with the city turning into a collection of warring silos, the Social Reconciliation Committee intervenes. Their conclusion is radical. If digital isolation is causing the violence, then a forced digital merger is the only way to stop it. They launch the Empathy Platform. This is a pilot project where strangers are required to plug into a neutral server and combine their conflicting AI datasets. It is a system designed to strip away the user's mental safety filters. The participants are tasked with building a single collective narrative called Escaping the Ruins. For the first time in years, these individuals cannot hit a skip button to avoid a creative choice dislike. They are forced to watch as their private memories and preferences struggle to merge into a single messy reality. The committee believes that if people can be forced to tolerate the discomfort of a shared screen, they might eventually learn to tolerate each other on a shared street. The initial merger is a disaster. The inputs are fundamentally incompatible. One user's jagged, avant-garde jazz is being layered over another's rigid, traditional theater tropes, all while the system tries to process the deep, subconscious phobias of 7 different people at once. The AI cannot resolve these contradictions. Under the friction of the incompatible data, the system glitches, rendering monsters composed of masks and sharp geometric shards. These figures are literal visual representations of the group's mutual repulsion. As the monsters flicker on the screen, the participants reach for the disconnect switches. The instinct to retreat back to the frictionless comfort of their private algorithms is nearly overwhelming. But instead of deleting the glitches, Liang Chi and the others choose to program them directly into the script. They turn the monsters into the story's actual antagonists, using the very friction that was breaking the system to drive the plot forward. By giving their internal conflicts a shared form, the participants find a way to inhabit the same narrative space without being forced to surrender their individual identities. The finished version of Escaping the Ruins is bizarre and structurally unstable. It lacks the polish and perfect fit of a personalized AI world, often jumping between clashing musical styles and confusing visual metaphors. During the public exhibition, the injured Yang Chi stands at the back of the room. He is watching a screen that doesn't cater to him, showing a world he didn't ask for. He watches a sequence where a distorted jazz riff, his riff, is suddenly interrupted and reinterpreted by a chorus of stage actors. He is no longer in a closed loop. He is hearing his own voice modified by the presence of others. As the discordant music fills the warehouse, the absolute borders of the cultural islands begin to soften. In the presence of this imperfect shared creation, the people in the room are finally looking at the same thing at the same time. Perfect digital comfort is a trap designed to keep us stationary. When an algorithm removes every obstacle and every dissenting opinion, it destroys the mental friction required to understand that other people are real. Without that resistance, our empathy simply atrophies. The empathy platform offers an alternative. It serves as a training ground for a new generation to relearn the mechanics of compromise. It teaches them that a shared world is not something you find, it is something you have to build out of clashing pieces. To survive, we must choose the messy, often painful work of shared creation. We must trade the frictionless isolation of our personalized heavens for the difficult reality of a world we actually inhabit together.